Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VAED, the Voice Actor Education Document. If you found us on YouTube, take a look in the description, and you should find a link that takes you to the VAED. And I'd like to thank you for joining us here, Marc Cashman. Hello.
Inviting me.
Thank you for being here, Marc. I had this whole plan about going through your whole bio and everything I found in there, but I'd run out of time because there's so many things in there and so many appearances at conventions, like the most recent one, VO Atlanta 2024. Really disappointed I couldn't go, but I'm planning on the next one, and I hope I
Excellent.
see
I'll
you
see you there.
Exactly. All right, so I don't want to waste anybody's time, so we're going to jump right into the coaching and educator interview. So if you're ready, I'll get started.
Ready to go.
All right. So first question, Marc, what made you decide to take up coaching in the first place?
I decided that I wanted to be the VO teacher that I never had.
Oh, I feel that. Oh, that hits
And
me.
hopefully to inspire other actors to try their performance skills solely through voice. I've been writing and casting and producing radio commercials in Los Angeles. I started over 45 years ago, and I was performing in a lot of them. But 24 years ago, after 20 years of writing and producing and casting, I figured that I could give potential voice actors a lot of special knowledge about the craft, as I'd been on both sides of the glass as a producer and also as an actor. I taught in studio classes here in Los Angeles for the first 20 years up until the pandemic, and I've been online since 2015. So I'm going on. This is my ninth year of online classes, and those are the reasons that I decided to take up VO coaching. When I first started, there were 100 teachers just in LA alone that were teaching, and but 24 years later, I'm still doing it.
That really hits me, Marc. That's the whole reason this list is coming together too. Just it was tough to find coaches and teachers. Let's make it easier. Oh.
It's just going to be a great service when it's all done.
Ah. All right, second question. Could you elaborate for us on the aspect of voice training that you specialize in? And what does it involve?
Well, actually, I specialize in three different forms of narration: short form, mid form, and long form narration. So commercials are short form, and corporate narrations are mid form, and audiobooks are long form. And I teach all three areas of voice work. Um, and I make a distinction between voiceover and voice acting. I concentrate on voice acting. To me, voiceover is just 2.9% APR financing for 60 months on all vehicles in stock. That's just voiceover. Yes, that's saying the words cogently, coherently, but that's just saying words, and this is more than just saying words. It's voice acting. The one thing that I do that nobody else in the world does, I'm the only teacher in the world who gives out report cards.
Really?
I have a VO report card that I've been using for the past 24 years. And people who take my courses or people who study with me one-on-one get engender a VO report card that's like an X-ray of your skill sets, where you're graded in 8 different categories on a 1 to 10 scale. And it's 1 to 10 scale, not A, B, C, D, F. And it's basically an X-ray of your skill sets. It shows where you're strong, it shows where you're weak, and it makes recommendations should you want to continue. And I am the only person in the world who does that.
I love that. Speaking as a student myself, I think many of us want that kind of concrete, here's where you are,
Yeah.
and here's your weak spot.
Well, again, we got this in elementary school, junior high school, and high school. We got report cards all the time. And they told us they were, again, they told us exactly how we were doing. And it was a measure of our current skill sets. That didn't say we couldn't get better or worse. And I realized that almost everybody, well, not almost everybody, everybody else, when they're done with the class, the people say, well, good luck. How'd I do? Good luck. Good luck out there. And that's it. My report card gives them something solid, tangible, concrete that they can hold on to and say, okay, this is from somebody who's been in the business for decades, can give me a really, really good overview and be accurate and objective.
I like that. In fact, I think that segues nicely into our next question,
Mm-hmm.
which is, how would you further describe your teaching style?
My teaching style is no bullshit.
Oh, I
Very
I don't know if we're
practical.
allowed to swear on this or not, but we've
Uh,
decided that it's okay this time.
that even the anchors on the news, MSNBC, the bullshit has been approved completely. I give no psychological mumbo jumbo. What I do is I hold your feet to the fire. You'll never hear
Mm.
me say that was good enough. I do not miss a trick. You can skate with me. You can slide with me. If you got an Achilles heel, I'll find it. And if you
All
don't know what an
right.
Achilles heel is, you better look it up. My job is to give you the performance tools that you need to be competitive in this business. Your job is to prepare. My job is to find your strengths and try to enhance them, and find your weaknesses and try to mitigate or eliminate them. Your job is to practice, practice, practice. I also assign reading homework as well as performance homework because I have a book. My book is VO, Tips, Tricks, Tools, and Techniques to start and sustain your voiceover career. And through what I'm teaching, we'll be working on certain projects, certain scripts, certain pieces, but I will assign reading to accommodate and to go along with what it is we're working on. So reading homework is very, very important. And actually, my book, which has been out now for almost 10 years, is going to see soon a sequel. I'm working on the
The
sequel. I'm finishing up.
sequel.
I'm working on my second book, and hopefully by the end of this year it'll be out and published, and then I'll be working on finishing up the audiobooks as well.
I'm gonna want to see that when that's
Yeah,
out. You let us know.
absolutely. Oh yeah, it'll be a big. It'll be trumpets. It'll be fantastic.
Well, it sounds like to me that if someone wants to pursue you as their coach or their
Mhm.
teacher, that they need to be serious about this.
Oh,
Like,
there's no
really,
question.
they need to be
There's
in on this.
There's no question. At the same time, there are a lot of people out there who aren't sure as to whether or not they even have the talent or the skill for something like this. And so it's not necessarily, yes, the majority of people who I work with are serious about what it is they're doing. They really, really want to focus on making a living and supporting themselves from voice work. But at the same time, I've got newbies coming in all the time. Uh, and from every age you can possibly think of. I work with people from ages 18 to 88 and everything in between. And so there are not a lot of people out there who think that they might be able to be good at this, but they're not sure. And they want to
Mhm.
try it out. And so that's why I work with everyone. I work with beginners, intermediates, advanced, working pros, veterans, everyone.
All right. Amidst all of that, you've mentioned students that might have talent, some that have a great deal of work ethic. But what about how would you describe a challenging student?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, challenging, it just depends upon how you determine and define challenging.
Yeah.
Challenging could be somebody who arrives unprepared
Mhm.
to every class, somebody who doesn't listen well, somebody who has a hard time listening. That could be a challenging student. But it could also be somebody with challenges other than voice acting um, and talent like, well, just say breathing
Mm.
or articulating or even have dyslexia.
That's
And
it.
so usually, if I have any really challenging student that goes beyond my ken, beyond my knowledge, I'll many times refer them to somebody who might be able to help them
That's great.
where I
That is
can't.
excellent.
Always, always. I'll always refer people to experts who I know who have experience beyond mine, and I have absolutely no problem doing that because it's like a doctor referring another doctor, you know, for a condition, right?
Yeah. Like
Yeah, same thing.
I've spoken to a lot of students and or I say student really to mean prospective and interested voice actors because as soon as we start trying to learn, guess what? You're a voice actor. Take us firing out of your demo and your background and all that stuff. But one thing that really kind of gave them a bit of anxiety was is the coach I'm with just sort of taking me for a ride? Or am I just not talented enough? This idea that you have
Right.
to start this good or else there's no point.
Right.
Like,
That's right.
have you, this one's going to hurt to ask, have you ever had a student where their fears of that, just not enough out the gate talent? Is that something that has ever really happened with you? Had a
No.
student like that?
No, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I've worked with thousands and thousands of students, so everybody is at a different point in their learning curve, and so some learn quicker, some don't. I find that the people who are the most successful at this are have just unending perseverance.
That's very good to hear. So keep that in mind, everybody, that if you think you don't have it, well, just work on the perseverance and keep at it. It
Keep
comes with
going, keep
time.
going, keep going. Absolutely, absolutely. Again, I am constantly astounded by the amount of talent that I see coming out of just anybody. That's why I never make any judgments about anyone, because you never know what somebody's capable of. I always tell the story about Walt Disney, who in many cases was not a very, very nice person, but one of his good points was that when people came in to audition for his movies, to do voice work for his movies, he demanded that he not see anyone, that they all
Oh,
stand behind a curtain, and he would cast listening to them and not seeing them for a second. So that was the one thing that he always did. So I always say, you never know what somebody is capable of, and you just want to give them some fertile ground to show their talent and showcase their talent and then see what you can do with it. I always remind everybody this voice work is show business. It's an anonymous form of show business, but it's still show business. And there's a ton of competition out there. So all because you want to do something doesn't necessarily mean that you can. But the beautiful thing about it is that there are so many talented coaches out there to help you try to realize your dream that now's the time. If you ever wanted to do voice work, now's the time.
excellent. So, actually, when we were talking about how, you know, talent and all these other nebulous ideas, things that we convince ourselves you have or you don't, let's put those aside for a second. And let me ask you, when you go about providing criticism, when you have someone who has their weaknesses,
Mhm.
what's your thought process as you go about that?
Well, first of all, I never criticize. I never
Oh,
criticize. I don't criticize anything. I always give my students what I call constructive feedback.
okay.
Constructive feedback.
You're gonna make
Criticism is cold. Criticism is cold. Criticism is unstinting. Criticism is unloving, unsupporting. But constructive feedback is something that everybody wants.
that's it.
Teaching. I keep going around. I keep going in a circle around this. Um, I wanted to be the teacher I never had. Or your very first question, what made you decide to take up coaching? I wanted to be the VO teacher I never had. Therefore, I will work with a student the way I would want to be working with a coach. It's the golden rule. It always comes down to the golden rule. If you could boil down my teaching style into one
Oh,
sentence, it'd be, I'll show you what you got right. I'll show you what you missed, and I'll show you what you need to do to fix it.
I love it.
No judgments. No judgments. That's the way I
The
work.
word wrong didn't even show up in there.
No, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong because the only thing you do if you did something wrong, you'd have to know what the right way to do it is, and people don't know what the right way to do it is. That's why I'm saying this. Do it this way. This is where you're going. This is the perfect. This is form. What they call form over substance. I don't know if you ever play any sports, but sports is a perfect example of form over substance. You're never going to hit the ball straight unless you got the right form,
There we
right?
go. Exactly.
There you go.
All right. Well, you've mentioned a lot about a lot of the students, for example, who have been a part of what you've been learning and doing. So, my question is for the students that want to come and join you. I think I know the answer to this already, but I'm going to ask because is there something that they should have accomplished, like a milestone? Again, as a student, I often think this and get trapped thinking this. There's something I haven't done yet before I talk to this person.
Mm.
What's
Yeah,
something?
no. Yeah, no, because it's what they it's what you don't know, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Okay. So in terms of preparation, um, there is no preparation, but there is experience. And I always remind people that you can take your experience many times and turn that into something, and you can take all the skills that you have in your experience and then turn that into voice work. So for instance, if you're an actor, a stage actor who wants to do VO, you've got stage skills and stage chops. If you're an on-camera actor, you want to do VO, you've got the confidence that you bring in front of the camera that you can bring behind the microphone. If you're a singer and you've done tons of performances, all the skills you have as a singer could be aimed toward and applied towards voice work. So all of your skills that you have beforehand, if you're a teacher, you know how to communicate with people and tell stories and explain things. All those skills, that's your previous experience. So in terms of progress that they've made, there's no progress, but it's their experience that we can take and those skills, and we can take and turn that into and show you basically how you can apply those skills to a successful voiceover career.
That's awesome. Mark, I have another question then. You would
Yes, sir.
imagine it's an interview. Uh, all of us talk about teachers now. Do you have one who've you, in your over 40 years, do you have someone you've recently learned from? And if so, what did you learn from them?
Yeah, well, I did actually. As you mentioned, VO Atlanta. Before I'd gone to VO Atlanta to teach, and I teach all over the world. That's one of the things that I do. But I went to VO Atlanta more so. The thing that I was excited about to go was to learn from other teachers, from other coaches,
Uh-huh.
which we don't get a chance to do. You know, when a teacher's teaching, they have their class, they have they're doing one-on-one. That's a private thing. There's
Mhm.
nobody sitting. There's no other teachers who are sitting there listening. There might be other students who are auditing, but there are no teachers. There's no opportunity for other teachers to hear other teachers until something like VO Atlanta, where they had something called breakout sessions, where all the different coaches, including myself, were talking about a particular subject. And so I got a chance to sit in on some of those breakout sessions and listen to a couple of my colleagues who I had heard about for years, but had never heard, had never listened to, had never heard how they teach, what they teach, how they work, et cetera, et cetera. So I got to, there are two people I wanted to listen to when I got there. One was Dave Walsh and one was Hugh Klitsky. And both of them, lovely, lovely, lovely gentlemen who welcomed me, and were happy that I was sitting there in the back of the room, and maybe they were a little bit more on their toes when they saw me in the back
Oh,
there. And I invited them all. I invited them to my sessions anytime they wanted to be there. But yeah, those are the two that was a treat for me because we do not get to sit in on anybody else's session ever. We are all isolated. And so VO Atlanta was the one of the first times I was able to, well, just soak up some knowledge that all the other people had gone to pay and to pay there and be there for and do that. So yeah, so those two guys I listened to for a little while and came away with something new, which was great.
man, VO Atlanta, I have to be there next year and going forward. It sounds like it's just I mean, it is basically the best I've heard from everyone who's gone has been go to VO Atlanta when
Well,
you
it's the
can give
largest
it a
it's
try.
the largest voiceover convention in the world, and it's something where again you're just going to soak up so you have so much. And by the way, you know when you go there as an attendee, they have breakout sessions from coaches all over the country, all over the world, all day long, and I mean all day long, starting at I think starting at 10 o'clock and no, starting at like 8 o'clock in the morning, going till like 8 o'clock at night. It's just a full thing. But here's the thing. So people say, well, I want to see this, but I'd also like to hear that. and I can't be in two places at the same time. So VO Atlantis has made it so that if you're an attendee, if you signed up, and you can get the recordings of the other breakout sessions that you didn't go to.
Oh, wow.
Isn't
Okay.
that nice?
Sorry to be flabbergasted on camera, but there we go.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. All right, I'm gonna have to look that up myself. Maybe check out some older years if that's available.
absolutely.
But enough about my journey on that for now. We are coming to a end to this interview, but I have one question that I always like to end it off on.
Yes, sir.
You've given us something very similar to this answer, but I will ask this anyway. Marc, what is the most important thing for a student that they could learn from you?
I think I mentioned that earlier, Robert. It was perseverance.
There it is. We're
It's the
back on
key.
perseverance.
It's the key to achieving performance excellence. Practice, 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 unending practice. The people, the people we look up to, the people we admire, who are amazing artists, writers, performers, whatever the case may be, sports people. Practice, 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 practice. They did it day in, day out, night in, night out. It was just something that they were doing over and over and over to perfect their skills. And that's basically what you got to have. You got to have that perseverance and that drive. The other thing that they learn from me is something with the details, nuance, subtlety, and effortlessness. Those are the hallmarks of a professional performance. Any performance from anybody, as I said, whether they're an artist, whether they're an actor, whether they're a dancer, a writer, it does not matter. Nuance, subtlety, and effortlessness. Those are the things that we aspire to as we're doing what we're doing. And you can apply that to anybody and anyone. Finesse, professionalism. The competition is fierce. I'll go back to what I said before. This is show business.
Yeah.
An anonymous side of show business. The competition is fierce and you got to be incredible. The competition is amazing. But if this is something that you love, if you've got that fire in your belly, if this is something that you eat, live, breathe, sleep, and dream, then you got a shot.
Thank you, Marc Cashman. Thank you for giving us all those words of encouragement and things to keep in mind.
Thank you, Robert. This was fun. This was really fun. It was effortless.
Well, I'm going to say it again for everyone else. Thank you, Marc, and thank you, everyone else, for being here, and best of luck. Remember to inject that nuance, that effortlessness, that third word that escapes me right now, but Marc can tell me.
Subtlety.
There it is. The thing I was not employing there.
That's okay.
Thank you all, everybody. And thank you again, Marc. And have a great day, everybody.